Good.
Cool.
Ross, what's up, man? I'm
Man, we
glad
got
we got live because this topic right here, we really have to delve into it. We got to talk about it, man. Um, let's get into it. Zion Williamson, man. What's going on with the whole Zion Williamson and Moriah Mills situation?
well. First thing I want to do, if you allow me, is go ahead and
Sure.
set the premise with the community post I wrote earlier on my channel that walk you down, walk everybody down and shit. And then after that, I'll be able to, in my own layman's terms, break it down even further. So I said
Hmm.
earlier, Zion Williams is trending not because of basketball, but because two 30-year-old sex workers are fighting over who he should have impregnated. Zion is only 22 years old. We should have a conversation about the predatory nature some women have when it comes to finding young stars and securing the bag.
Mm.
So let's get into the psychology of this. Firstly, it could be because of the perceived power dynamics in the relationship between an older woman and a younger man. In this
Hmm.
case, Zion Williams represents a source of power, wealth, and influence that some women may be trying to take advantage of.
Mm.
This is an example of using someone's youth and innocence to manipulate, control them in order to satisfy their own needs.
Wow.
So a lot of women will deal with younger men because they're easy to control. Secondly, it could also be because of the emotional appeal that younger men have to some women. There is a belief that younger men are often more emotionally vulnerable and less seasoned than their older counterparts, which can make them attractive targets for older women to manipulate.
Mm.
It's easier to finesse them, basically. Finally, it could be because of the concept of security. Older women may see having a baby with a younger man as a way of securing the bag for themselves and either financially or emotionally. Financially or emotionally. Even when there's none to gain. When I was
Hmm.
in high school, I had two older women pregnant, two grown women. One had an abortion, one had a miscarriage.
Hmm.
Did I have money that they didn't see before to offer them? Not necessarily, but it was an emotional thing. These women, a lot of times when women are dealing with younger men out there, they feel like life has passed them by, and this is what they're left with. So at the point where they'll deal with somebody who's still pretty much like, who's still not even fully developed yet. When you're 18 years old as a man, when you're 22, you're not really fully developed mentally. It's not till really you get like 25 where you start saying, you know what, a lot of shit I do is stupid. It's like it hits you when you're 25 and shit.
Hmm.
But 22, you still gonna be making dumb decisions. So
Hmm.
I wrote all that, and let me see how did I end it. So I said, yeah, this kind of behavior is predatory and not only exploits young men, but also fails to recognize them as fully developed adults with their own wants and needs and rights. At the end of the day, this situation serves as an important reminder that we need to have a conversation about the predatory nature some women have when it comes to finding young stars and securing the bag. But not only young stars, it's young men in general that they can finesse and manipulate. So what people don't understand is, while I see and hold him accountable because 22 does say you're a grown man, and I hold him accountable for getting that young woman pregnant. I also understand that it's in most men have a fantasy of having sex with strippers and porn stars.
Mm.
Very few men actually do these things. Men go to the strip club because they have a fantasy of being with these women that they'll never be with.
Mm.
Some of us do end up doing things with these women. Some of us have met porn stars and have done things with them. Now, on the outside looking in, if you never lived your fantasy, it's easy for you to judge
Yep.
because you can't do it. But for the most part, you have people who sit around and watch porno judging the man because he actually has sex with the woman you watch.
Yep.
Is he really that wrong for doing something you wish you could do?
Exactly.
Is he really that wrong? what he's wrong is he's losing track of his career doing this. That's where he's messing
Mhm.
up. That's where he's messing up at. But he could fare worse and just having sex with some wild white girl that's gonna say he raped her, or having sex with some woman from the hood. He could do far worse.
Hmm.
The problem is what these women have done has been documented.
Yep.
But if you're from the hood, you know there's far worse women than actual porn stars.
Yep.
You know that. You know that. So my problem
Yep.
is not that his feet is being held to the fire, because even I held his feet to the fire. My problem is there's a lot of hypocrisy in our community. Because you can't both masturbate and watch porn and say this dude's stupid for doing what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put in the same predicament, you would do it too. If you sit around fantasizing with the woman he's sleeping with in real life, you would do it too.
Facts.
And that was my issue with the whole thing. What you think about it?
Here's my thing. I feel like there's a double standard, and I feel like there's a conundrum in the sense of men when they date younger women, they are told that they are predatory. They're told that even if the woman is of consent,
Right,
that he's rocking the cradle, so to speak. But
right,
when
right.
women do this, yeah, rocking the cradle. But when women do this, the guy is looked at in this, pumping of chest, like, oh man, he was able to get this MILF.
Right,
And then women want to run with this MILF title, not realizing that they are doing the exact same thing that they were supposedly trying to accuse these men of doing. Now, here's the thing: what the men were doing in the initial inception of it is not wrong because they are dealing with somebody that's of consent. And we need to be very clear here, and we need to specify that we're not in no shape, form, or fashion on this channel, on Ross's channel, on any channels associated with both of our namesake put together condoning underage or anyone that is not of age or consent. So we want to
right.
make that very clear.
Very
But
clear.
if the person is of age and consent, how is it predatory? They're both adults.
Right,
So why, when it comes to the man, there's a problem, but when it comes to the woman, oh, I'm just, showcasing myself. See, women want this thing where they want their cake and want to eat it too, because what they don't realize is there's disadvantages in both sexes. Unfortunately, men cannot go on a yacht.
right,
Men go on a yacht, show their bodies, and people basically give them a free ticket in or a free ticket for them to be able to have fun and stuff like that. Women can do that. They can go in, wear basically a halter top or wear a bikini. And unfortunately and fortunately, you have men that have money that will just accept them. They won't even
right.
bat an eye.
Worry about
But
that.
at the same time, these women will sit there and take all of these free advances and everything. They want to turn around and tell you, well, we want the world to be equal. We want the world to be on the same page. No, you can't have a cake and eat it too. The same advantages that you guys have, you have to be understanding of the same advantages that men have. And the advantage that men have is men can be able to turn around and have sex with multiple women and will never be seen as hoes. See, when women call men hoes, it's a way to try to slap the man as if he's on the same level with her. No, men aren't hoes, they're hoe makers. Men
Right,
aren't sluts, they're slut makers. If you look at the sexes and you look at their sexual organs and you look at the way the body is structured, men have a penis, women have a vagina. So even in sex, nature doth not nature teach you. Nature is teaching you who's penetrating who. Sex
right,
is teaching you who's the dominant and who's the recessive sex
right,
in sex because one is penetrating the other. So you can't fuck a man if the man is penetrating you. I always thought that was very weird to say I'm fucking him. How are you fucking him when you have a hoe?
right.
A hoe is
But
meant to be fucked.
he's fucking you.
So he's fucking you. Hence the word hoe. Where do you think the word hoe came from? Came from the fact that because of the origination of you having a pussy hole. That's why you called a hoe. A man can't be called a hoe because he doesn't have a hole. He has a penis. So
Yep.
there's no such vernacular for a man to be a hoe. Why am I saying this and why it still interweaves into the conversation? Women cannot have their cake and want to eat it too, which is what Ross is talking about. And I'm just adding the supplementary point to it. But then when it comes to men, men can't have their cake and eat it too. No, no, no. It works both ways.
Works both
You
ways.
have to realize in life is not fair. The advantages that men have are the advantages that men have. The advantages that women have are the advantages that women have. The difference in the sexes is, as men, we accept and we don't put our feelings, we don't go by what I feel. We understand the reality that these are the advantages that you have that we won't
Right.
have. A woman can go on OnlyFans, gyrate herself, make millions and millions of dollars, not realizing, which now we're getting to the topic at hand, that OnlyFans has replaced the actual pimp. And
Right.
OnlyFans is basically a corporation pimp. Let me say it again, because what I said was so deep and profound. So hear me and hear me motherfucking well. OnlyFans is a corporation pimp. They
Right.
just replaced the physical pimp that was in front of you. So when women are thinking that they're getting a lottery out of this, they're thinking they're getting something of value. They think that they're boss chicks. No, you're not a boss chick. You just went from one pimp to the other. You just went from basically a independent pimp to an organized pimp. A pimp that's dealing off of his own independent contractor situation to now an organized system of pimping. And that's
Right.
what they're doing. They're pimping you. They're putting you on a site. They're basically selling you. They're selling your bodies. And they're basically saying, hey, this is your value. That is pimping 101.
Right.
And that's all I have to say on that.
Exactly, man. And they do this with every industry. Every industry that is independent of the system, they find a way to remove the people who's running it, and they come in. Like for the lottery, black people created the numbers. Black people created the lottery,
Mm-hmm.
and they're throwing niggas in jail because niggas have found a way to to uh, to take care of themselves with their money and feed a whole community without their help. So instead of them saying, "Man, let's let them black people be," they're like, "Nah, they can't make no money without us." First of all, let's try to take it by force. A lot of the Italian miles, the reason why the Italian miles started getting weaker and weaker and weaker until they're really not no more because they started meddling with black people business. And then it got to the point where the government had to get involved and started sending niggas in jail.
Yep.
After they got control over the market, they made the lotto. The lotto is now a nationwide thing in every state.
Exactly.
Whereas it used to be illegal.
Yep.
Selling weed used to be illegal. Now it's a thing.
Yep. Yep.
Alcohol was prohibition. Now it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Once they can control it, it becomes a thing again.
Yep.
And now prostitution was a thing that was a thing that the people controlled that, right? You had a manager. So a pimp ain't nothing but a manager, and you had the talent. You had a talent. That's the women, or that's the women, right? We're gonna keep it heterosexual. That's the women.
Yep.
Now they removed the pimp, started giving them human trafficking laws. Then they opened up OnlyFans.
Yep.
So it was never about prostitution.
Mm-hmm.
It was about the money. These guys are making a lot of money, unaccounted for, and we need them in jail. We don't need them. We don't need them to be able to suffice. You know what I mean? We don't need them to be able to live and thrive without our help.
Yep.
So they got rid of them. Now they throw these bras. Now these bras on OnlyFans, and whoever created OnlyFans is getting paid by everybody.
Yep.
That's the tax. That's the street tax. For you to come on my site and advertise your vagina, you gotta pay me a tax. You know what I'm saying? These pimping, basically. OnlyFans
because everything has a digital footprint, and unfortunately, the digital footprint that you leave on somewhere like OnlyFans, it follows you. See, back in the days when it was just pimping and there wasn't no social media, it was just between you and the contract between the pimp. You can go and basically get 1,000 bodies in you. You can get 2,000 bodies in you. Because again, we need to explain that only hoes can be hoes. Right. So you to get 1,000 bodies in you, and then go to another country or go to another place and be treated as basically a converted virgin. Right. Nobody knows you. Nobody knows your background. But now, whether if it's OnlyFans or whether they can find you on some porno site or whatever, whether it's Pornhub, Spank Bang, you name it, you have a footprint.
Right.
So wherever you go, it's gonna follow you internationally everywhere. And Ross is right. A lot of people are sitting here judging, this person, I can't believe they slut shaming. I can't believe this person, did this with an escort, or this person did this with a hoe or whatever, when all of these guys damn well are doing the same shit. A lot of guys, when they go to Vegas, or a lot of guys when they go to these places, they do the same shit.
They do the same
They
shit.
do it behind closed doors. Nobody's paying attention. Nobody's thinking that they're
Right.
doing this, but they're doing the same shit.
And at the end of the day,
And let's be honest, a lot of these girls on social media, they're bigger hoes than the hoes that's on OnlyFans and
right.
on fucking all of these places. So when you dealing with these girls on Facebook, gyrating, showing their ass, you dealing with these Instagram, man, these girls got way more body counts than
Right.
nowadays. All of these women are fucking hoes, man. Well, I won't say all, but a majority of them,
Oh,
a
yeah.
vast majority of them, let me correct it, a vast majority of them are fucking hoes, man. Let's just be honest here.
Hell yeah. So the thing is, you'll have guys who actually pay money to watch these women strip.
Yep.
Be upset. They really upset. Right? A lot of this is really jealousy.
Exactly.
Let's be honest. Most guys never had women debating or arguing over them. And they certainly never had women mad because they didn't get them pregnant. They don't even know what that feels like.
Yep.
So you want to tell me that you purchasing OnlyFans or you going and watching porn is more better than somebody who's actually laying with the woman that you watch that you wish you could lay down with?
Facts.
At the end of the day, if you're paying OnlyFans or if you fantasize about this woman, that means if given a chance, you would probably do the same thing. Matter of fact, you'll probably beg for her to have your baby.
Yep. And let's keep it a buck. You may even go to more extreme lengths because everybody's version of sexual fantasies are different, especially now in 2023. What was considered extreme in probably 2000 and 2023, everybody's doing it, but they're doing it at an exaggerated rate. I mean, 9 out of 10 girls have a title of throat goat. I don't remember in 2000 when it was 9 out of 10 girls that were throat goat. I remember back in 2000 when I was in the service, man, you teach some girls how to give good head because let's be honest, they weren't that versed in it. Now, man, you get down to the nitty gritty, the girl's giving you head like she's a professional, and you could tell she's experienced. A lot of times when you have sex with people, you can tell how many bodies they've had because of the way that they do it, man. The way that they just do things so casually, the way that they just naturally go into their 304, they go into their whole behavior, their whorish mentality. And again, it's not slut shaming, or it's not basically condescending women. It's just telling the truth. If you have a lot of bodies and you've got a lot of experience, you are pretty much versed in your whorish behavior. So because you're versed in your whorish behaviors, you know what comes with being a whore. You know how to be in your whore. You know how they say be in your masculine. You know how to be in your whore.
Right.
You know what comes with that.
Right. Exactly.
With it.
It's funny you say that, man. And the thing is, I know what I want for someone to share my space with. I know what I want from that, but from what other people do, I could care less. They ain't my family. But my thing is, keep it 100 though.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it 100 though. A good critique would have been like, he need to be careful because he don't need any distractions while he on the court because that's still his livelihood. That's a great critique. A bad critique is saying he's a simp because two women who are sex workers are vying for his attention. And why is he laying with these women? He's 22 years old. Why the fuck not?
Mm-hmm.
The average woman got bodies any fucking way. They just not on camera. So why not? One thing for certain, he knows coming in. He knows these motherfuckers clean because they gotta take like 3 or 4 tests to do a scene. Exactly. The average woman don't take no tests.
Nah, so they could be having all kinds of shit.
They got all kinds of shit. You will never
know. You good for like weeks. The next thing you know, you go and play basketball after about a month later, and then you fall out on the court thinking you just have a bug, but really it's something deeper than a fucking bug that you got because you didn't mess with the average girl that done been around the block and her ass is not getting tested and stuff like that. So at least you know these people in these respective professions are doing their due diligence to at least give you their credentials that hey, this is my clean bill of health.
Clean bill of health, man. You know what I'm saying? So there's pros and there's cons of everything. The shit that got me a little hype was there's a dude, O'Shea Duke Jackson. I remember how he got his followers. Mm-hmm. We was on Facebook together. I got my followers because I had 2 Facebook groups. I had one that was an adult one. I forget the name. But I had a comedy one called Bitch Stop Playing. And basically, when you see some English shit like in you either come up with some shit that somebody did, like they tried you, or you see some English shit like happen like at Walmart, and you post a picture, you like, bitch, stop playing, like you know you should have wore that. And the shit was just it was taken off. I'm talking about I had to turn the notifications off because I couldn't do nothing because my phone kept going off. Mm-hmm. But the women that me and another dude was that was helping me run it, this dude was in Texas, I was in Virginia. And they were flying out because women do anything. When you got social status, women will do anything. When you got money and social status, they'll do anything. When you have charisma, sometimes looks can backfire because if you have looks but you don't have the charisma, you can actually turn a woman off. But if you have certain looks and you're in shape, that's a certain level of being an alpha too. Mm-hmm. So we had women that we met in these sexual. They showing us everything in these sexual groups. They flying up to meet us. These same women, he's paying to come on his group that was popular too. He's paying them to take certain pictures, like with their butts and shit, so he could get that traffic, and then he could. That's how he got his platform and shit. The woman he was paying as a simp was women we was having sex for free. Wow, and that's the problem with O'Shea Duke Jackson is he's really the simp. Yep, he's always been a simp. But he always try to point out other people that's the simp.
Yeah, I know because when I watch his content, there's always this talking about his history, but talking about it in a very bitter way. Like there's a way we all have been in compromising positions. I have, Ross has been. There's a way to do it in a position of strength, and then there's a way to do it, and then you're just bitter about it. And then now you take that bitterness and you take that insecurity. And then you label everyone. I mean, heck, these red pillars, a lot of them, you could tell based on the way that they do their content, they still got issues that they're not over with. So they want everybody to have that extreme mindset based on something they haven't healed from yet.
They need therapy.
Yep, that's exactly what they need, therapy.
And that's the problem. And that's why I made that community post. I was like, bro, this nigga don't realize I remember him, but you probably. I remember him, man. I remember girls telling me in the what's the name? Hey, I'm gonna catch back up with you in a minute. I gotta take these pictures for O'Shea. For O'Shea, he about to pay me $50 a picture or $100 a picture and shit. So he'll post a picture. He'll use that picture as advertising, but he's paying them. And I'm getting these same pictures. I'm seeing the pictures she's gonna get him for free. Yeah. She's like, do this one look good? So I bend over more. I'm like, bro's paying her. And this is a woman that's flying out to see me on her own money and get smashed. And then come back to the group bragging like, yeah, that motherfucker not playing. He really putting it down. And in your group, they don't even talk to the men. I noticed that. In his group, they didn't talk to the men. The men would be like, beautiful, so beautiful, blah, 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 blah. Then it gets to the point where the niggas be like, yo, you ain't gonna say nothing back? Yep. Blah, 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 blah.
And I'm glad you said that because these men, they give a bad picture of the overall message, because the message in the red pill community is a great message.
It's a great
The
message.
problem is a lot of the red pillars have not healed from their situations. So because they haven't healed from their situations, they want everyone to have this cookie cutter, one size fits all ideology. And that's not the
Yeah.
case. And when you've been an alpha as long as me and Ross have been, which is longer than any of these fucking red pillars, you realize it's not cookie cutter. Life is not cookie cutter in of itself. There's so many layers to life. So there's so many layers to situations. Like me, you won't ever see me get on my soapbox and talk bad about my ex-wife. I would
Right.
never do that. I have nothing but great things to say about her. You'll never sit here and see me be bitter about a marriage that didn't work. Yeah, the
Right.
marriage didn't work, but guess what? As for life, do anyone want something that doesn't work? Do people find that, when you go through a situation, do you want to fail? I'm sure she feels the same way too. She probably didn't want to fail from the
Right.
situation too, but we're no longer together. I move on. And me, I have a lot mentality with life. And I'm big on that. Anyone that's been around me knows that when I move on from a situation, I move on. I'm not going to say nothing bad about the situation. My situation is my situation.
Right.
And if there's something that I'm dealing with internally as a man, that's why I have a therapist.
Yep.
And as men, I think when we have therapists, you need to have a male therapist, because men cannot divulge their information to a female, because what's going to happen is she'll emasculate you. I think men need to deal with men. That's just my personal opinion. And a strong man's voice, not just any old man that's going to give you the blue pill bullshit. A man that's going to give you the shit that you need to keep you strong and keep you in your masculine frame and keep you going. That's just
Somebody,
my opinion on that.
somebody,
But
somebody.
but 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 in reality, bro, it's like I feel like, you need to show that. You need to show that, okay, you've gone through some things. I've caught L's from certain girls or whatever. I don't go on my soapbox and say, man, this girl gave me an L, so you know what? I gotta make her, I see guys do videos where they're like, well, I gotta make her suffer. Like, why are you thinking about her? Like, you already got your L. Move the fuck
Right.
on.
Move
Use the
on, man.
experience from the L, and then say, okay, in the next situation, I'm not gonna have an L, I'm gonna have a W in the next situation. This is how I'm
Right.
gonna have a W, and outline it. And this is what I'm seeing that's wrong. And it's basically creating a revolving window, and it's creating a disastrous thing, because it's telling other men that they need to behave this way. And then now you have this situation where all of these men sound robotic and they sound the same. And these women are able to read through the patterns because they're seeing that all these guys are sounding the same way. It's like a talking box.
Mm-hmm.
But in actuality, it's not that serious. Every situation is different. And until you've been in somebody's shoes or you've been in someone's situation, you can't fully understand why they make the decisions that they make. It's like Kanye West being with Kim Kardashian. Him
He said it.
going through
He
what he
said it.
went through, him having the emotional breakdowns the way he had it. It's okay for him to do that. You know why? Because the guy has 4 or 5 fucking kids. And unless you're in his position having the kids that he has, right? You can't react the way that he reacts in that situation because you haven't been there. I mean,
Right.
it's just
That's
me,
number
bro.
one. But people will go back to the beginning and say, well, why you married in the beginning? Did you know Kanye West? He said it. Kanye West is one of the realest people when it comes to how his fantasies and how pornography has shaped a lot of his dealings with women. Kanye West says he always had a fantasy of being with a porn star. He said that. What
There you
people
go.
don't realize is most people have a lot of fantasies. Most people will never see their fantasies revealed and never see their fantasies come to life. And that's the reason why they don't understand somebody actually living out their fantasy.
Because they haven't made something in their lives, or they're not in a position to where they can act out their fantasy.
Right.
Kanye West is actually in a position like where he can act out all his fantasies.
Where he can do that. That's why whenever a woman say, what's your fantasy? I just want to be the one to share. I said, be honest. My fantasy now is finding a woman who respects, honors, and obeys, and someone I can have a conversation with. Like, no, what's your sexual fantasy? I said, I've lived out all of my sexual fantasy.
Yep.
I say that from the gate. Because a woman who's so bent on just doing a sexual fantasy with me doesn't have the respect, it doesn't have the knowledge, it doesn't know her power of her femininity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need that from you. I need you to be a real woman. If
Yep.
you're a real woman towards me, that's better than being a great sex partner. I've had
Exactly.
great sex. I ain't had many great women.
Yep.
Two different things. We can learn how to please each other together. But I can't learn you. I can't learn you or teach you. I like to use the word learn, but I can't learn or teach you how to be a woman. Your mother should have did that. Your daddy should have done that.
Exactly.
It's not my job. You know what I'm saying? But that's the reason why I say that. I let that be known out the gate. Like, listen, I already live my fantasies because I've been put in a predicament, travel the world to make a decent amount of money to live those things. Now, on the outside looking in, if I told if everything I did was on Front Street, there would be some people like, man, why you fuck a stripper?
Exactly.
Knowing they want to do it too.
Yep.
Knowing they want to do it too. Why you took pictures with a porn star sitting in your lap? Why you hit an amateur porn star? Knowing they want to do it too.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying?
And there's a double standard behind that.
Right. Why are you a young man? Why are you having sex with somebody else's wife? You shouldn't be doing that. Knowing they wish they could do that.
If that woman is their physical taste, they would do it.
Yeah. But most women who would have somebody would never look at them that way. And this is where you get all this bitterness from. My point I was trying to push out today is it's a lot of criticism, but none of it's coming from the right place. And at one point, anybody who was cared about this man's career is all about where he's putting his dick at.
Exactly.
Me and you both been in the military. We know how niggas think. We know how
they'll put that dick in anything.
Anything. And they'll get off any way they can.
Yep.
And if you'll look at a magazine and get off, you mean tell me you want to fuck that woman?
Exactly.
You mean tell me if y'all been fucking for 3 or 4 months, at some point you ain't gonna hit her raw?
Exactly. And if she's in front of you with all her curves and everything, you won't. The last thing you're gonna be thinking about, oh, she was with 10,000 dudes. You're not thinking about that at that moment. You want her to spread her legs. You want to fuck her.
And you mean tell me after it's been 8 or 9 months at some point, or a year or two, you ain't gonna finally hit her raw and fuck around none of her?
Exactly.
These are natural things that happen when you've been having sex with somebody so long. It gets to the point. If you start out wearing condoms, you're not gonna wear condoms as much. Then it's gonna get to the point.
You start out most niggas nowadays, they don't even know what that word means.
Right. Then it's gonna get to the point where the first you was pulling out, and now it's gonna get to the point where you barely pulling out. Like then it's gonna get to the point where you're not pulling out no more. You just dump, because that's the gradual process. If it don't happen right away, is to do things how you're supposed to.
Yep.
And you're supposed to have sex and procreate. So when you're not, it's supposed to go inside a woman. That's a natural thing when you have sex. Everything else is unnatural. The natural thing is for you to finish inside her. So if you've been having sex with a woman long enough, it don't matter what she do. You gonna start busting nuts in her, man.
Yep.
That's just how it goes.
Yep.
That's just how it goes. This ain't no excuse for the young man. This is going to show you, especially somebody that young, 22 years old, he's being judged for something that these men wish they could do, and they're being honest with themselves. They're being hypocrites.
Yep.
They're being hypocrites.
Yep. And I'm glad you said that, because here's the thing. That's why I said there's no skeleton. I have skeletons in my closet, and I don't sit there and judge people for the skeletons that they have in their closet. You know, I'm a freak, man. I'm a robust freak. Right. You know, I admit that shit with the heights of the heights. Right. Shit, I'm doing shorts. I'm doing shit on social media showcasing my freakiness. I'm a fucking freak, so I'm not gonna sit here and judge people off their freakiness and whatever type of freak they're in, because I'm a fucking freak. Right. Any woman that's been with me knows that shit. Now, there's certain fetishes that I like. I'm a fucking freak, so I don't even sit there and hide that shit. You know what I'm saying? I like ass jobs. I'm a fucking freak. Let's see. I admit the shit. I'm giving you one of my fucking fetish. I am a fucking freak. So the last thing that I would tell people is to how they can and they can't be a freak. This is not what it's about. What it's about is what's right and what's wrong. And what it's about is the disproportionate advantages that women have, and they're having their cake and eat it too. But then when it comes to men having their cake and eat it too, they have a problem with that.
Right.
Men are going to have advantages for being men. Mm-hmm. Women are going to have advantages for being women. No one gives a fuck how you feel. It's all about actions, accountability, and maximum proficiency. And if
Right.
a man actions, accountability, and maximum proficiency is going to get him to the finish line and him being able to have the advantages he has as a man, so fucking be it. If a woman's actions, productivity, and maximum proficiency is going to get her to the finish line and the advantages that she has, so fucking be it. But
Right.
we all need to be mindful of the general rule of thumb that women can have their cake and eat it too. This whole thing about wage gap, this whole thing about women feeling like they can't get secure jobs that men are securing, that's bullshit, because
Right.
they've basically brought down a lot of the standards so that women can be able to come in and not only compete but take over a lot of these jobs. The reason why they're not taking these jobs is because traditionally speaking, women will go to jobs that are more feminine based,
Right.
jobs that are not as hands on,
They don't have to
jobs that
work.
are not as physical,
They don't
jobs
have
that are not as laborious. Exactly, like what Ross just said. So that's why they do these things. But in all honesty, in all reality, when we're sitting here and we're looking at the 2023 in of itself, women in 2023 have nothing but W's that they can attain. Men
Mhm.
actually have it the hardest because as a man, you actually have to use your fucking brain to make money.
Right.
You got to use your fucking brain. If me and Ross was not using our fucking brains, I couldn't boast to you guys and say that I'm retired at 40. I couldn't say that.
Right.
Ross couldn't boast to you guys and say that he's retired at 39. We had to use our fucking brains to get to that position.
Right.
And if we didn't fucking use our brains, we wouldn't be in that position. Whereas with a woman, they could be retired in their fucking 20s. And the reason why I say this, because here's the number one thing women have that will always get them going, even in their years past 30. See, red pill try to tell you 18 to 30. Nah,
It
as
depends
long
on
as
the woman.
you keep yourself, as long as a woman, and this is all women now, as long as women keep themselves in some moderate, decent level of shape,
And
that shit
feminine?
can actually go out to their 60s or 70s.
Right.
If she has curves on her body, if she has voluptuousness on her body, her number one selling point is her physical body.
Yep.
And even if that body gets miles on that shit, even if that body starts building mildew, even if that body starts building decay, as long as it's curvy to one guy, as long as it can make one guy go north, make one guy go up,
Right.
guess what? She's an instant paycheck. And the reason why I say this is because that guy will put her in the house, that guy will take care of her, that guy will pay her expenses, that guy will do everything possible. These are the advantages that a woman has. When everything falls to the wayside, she gets out of the mindset of she don't want to be a boss chick. She gets out of the mindset that she doesn't want to do this
Right.
and she doesn't want to do that. She could turn around and she could do this and it'll work in her favor, bro. And what it could
Mhm.
work in her favor is she could use her body.
Yep. That's true, man. That's true. And because we don't have we don't have that option, then how can you knock a man who's put himself in a predicament to be in the top percent of earners, and for Zion, he's probably like the top two, top one, right? He has status. How can you then fault him for living a life that 9 times out of 10 you will try to live too if you could? You just
Exactly.
you can't realize none of your fantasies because you haven't done shit with your life. That's the
Yep.
problem. You know what I'm saying? You know
Yep.
what I
And
mean?
I'm glad you said that. And I'm gonna jump right back to you on that one because the thing with Zion Williamson is Zion Williamson is making millions and millions of dollars. So because he's making millions and millions of dollars, he has easy access to whatever. And
Wherever
let's
you
be
go.
honest, are going women are going to flock to money when it's all said and done. So do you have any comments on that with someone like Zion Williamson being as young as he is? First of all, he has an experience life, and I know Ross can hit on this point
Right,
because he always talks about this. He has not experienced life mentally yet enough. His mental aptitude is not fully there to comprehend what's going on. But and
right.
then you give him all of this exposable income on top of that. What do you
What,
think
what,
he's
pe-
gonna do?
what people don't realize is when you look at it from a he's a celebrity. He has to live a certain way that you can't even live yourself. Because that a lot of judgment is people projecting, right? When you look at it from a bird's eye view, from a big picture view, he's living a life like a king. You think every kings was just getting like women just off because who they were? If they was walking around people that know they was a king, you think they would get the same amount of women? Like no, women were vying for the king to have his children.
Facts.
Because of his power, because of his resources, because of his money. They wanted the Vi to be the one to give his next seat, because that solidifies them. It's always been like that with powerful men. It's
Yep.
always been like that.
Yep. And these women are catching Zion early on, so they know they're gonna get at least another decade of a check.
Right.
Let's be honest.
But the problem is society has twisted that and made it seem like you're less than a man if a woman wants you for your resources. But that's how women do. It's just when you are at that level, they don't hide it. When you're at that level, they're letting it be known. I just want to have your child. I just want to be near you. I just want to. How can you get her pregnant before me?
And I know Ross can talk on this one because this is his favorite king of all time, King David and King Solomon, his son.
Women
King
have
David, Ross, King David and King Solomon. You know what I liked about them? They made the differentiation back in their time versus now. They knew these women were after their resources, so what they gave them a special term. They called them what? Concubines.
Right. Concubines. You know what I'm saying? And that's the issue, man. The issue is society has made it seem as if a woman wants you for anything other than love, anything more than anything other than how she feels about you, like as far as intimacy, that is something wrong with you or wrong with her. But the reality is, before a woman ever could love you, she had to want your resources, your connections, and she has to want to have your children.
Yep.
That's the clear sign of a woman really think you handsome.
Yep.
Is she trying? You want a woman if you want a woman who you've been with for years that make you wear condoms, she's not really attracted to you like that at all.
Exactly.
Because at some point the condom, if they ever start, at some point the condoms come off.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And she's letting you know by doing that there's really not something she's trying to extract from you. She's just trying to keep it where it's at. And I'm glad you said that, Ross, because I know Ross gets hit with that question. I get hit with the question, whether if it's out the gate or it's at some point down the road, you're always going to get hit with that question. What do you do for a living? What kind of work do you do? The reason why these women ask you these questions is because they want to know what are you bringing to the table to be able to, because in their mind they've already perceived that, okay, if I'm looking at this guy long term, or I'm looking at him as a safety net, or I'm looking at a security, how can he support me if I end up getting pregnant by this guy?
Right. Because think about it, they're not already before they. If you're not a woman cup of tea, and she has like a prostitute mind state that she don't necessarily need to be sexually attracted to you to want your resources.
Yep.
Because she's already been prostituting herself. Because the natural inclination towards a man like that, she don't need that to want to. But the natural woman, before the reason why she's worried about your resources, the reason why she's worried about all that is because she want to have your children.
Yep.
That's why. And if she's gonna have your children and you have these resources, you're gonna have to break her off.
Yep.
That's the way of the fucking world, man.
Yep.
It is what it is. And think about it, people don't accept that.
They don't.
That don't mean you let somebody use you.
Mm-hmm.
That means you accept the fact that it's more than just you.
Yep.
That this woman wants. Because a man ain't just alpha male ain't just him. Alpha male is what he's acquired, his life experiences, his wisdom, his network, his assets. All of that is you. When a woman look at a man, she look at all of that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a loner, you can't be a loner who can't make friends. You gotta be a loner by choice.
Yep.
Even then, when something needs to be done, you gotta have some type of connect. Women look at all that shit, man.
Yeah.
All that. When y'all out, nobody never say you handsome. Nobody never say they like how you dress. A woman, even if she like you, she gonna stop liking you less because nobody else see you.
Exactly.
That's how it goes, man.
Yep.
It's real talk. The real reason why a lot of these things, it's mainly men comment on this more than women. They mad because they always wanted to fuck a stripper.
Mm-hmm.
He did that. He got one pregnant. They mad
Mm-hmm.
about that. They always want to fuck a porn star. He got a porn star talking about begging him
Yep.
to pay him. Why you ignoring me? And I want to have your
Yep.
kids next.
Yep.
Niggas wish they could have this. Well,
Yep.
if a nigga could pay $50 and go viral right now with 2 bitches lying, they'll do that.
Exactly.
They wish they could have an image of it. Not even if they could really do it. They wish they
And
could
in
have
the
an
social
image
media world we live in now, these niggas will be bragging about this shit.
right.
They will act like bitches will be bragging about this shit.
They were paid to have the image to have people thinking this is really going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of cap, man.
It's
a lot of cap, man. That's all I gotta say about it.
I'm glad you said that, especially when you know that the gal.
Right.
Let's be honest here, because when I say this, Ross gonna laugh. Especially when you know these brothers are facially challenged, man, and physically challenged, bro. Let's be honest. You already know the girl is not even into you like that physically. Because I've seen O'Shea do Jackson, and yeah, I could see why he's bitter. Let's be honest, from a physical standpoint, I could see why.
Right.
Yeah.
But he don't
Now
realize
he got his money together, he got his status together, but you still gonna deal with women because women in Haitian Creole we call them flicker, but in in English we basically say women are fucking disrespectful at the highest levels.
Right.
They will still let you know that you're not handsome, but they really just after your bread, like you was talking about.
Right.
So even if you got the social status and all that, they will let you know what you're still lacking at by the way they respond to you.
Right.
So I think his insecurities come from that. When you hear him talk about his insecurities, where he's like, man, how you gonna just leave this guy like that? I listened to his stories and I said, oh man, why haven't you gotten therapized from this shit, dog? Why ain't you got a therapy? That's what therapy's for.
Go get therapy, like you still hurt. And the problem is, he might think he has no choice but to deal with women. Like, and you already know he's acting all this, but you already know he's the type of guy that he pays for sex. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hell yeah.
He know he does that. And now if he did it, he was honest about it. Me personally, I don't judge people. Because I know there's a reason why people do it. I know niggas who women throw themselves at, who still do it. They don't like dealing with women like that because they got shit going on and they don't like arguing about everything. So I don't judge people like that. But what I'm saying is, you know,
and I don't judge nobody for paying for sex, because I've paid for sex.
Right.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people that have paid for sex. But I can also not pay for sex too.
Right. Exactly.
But him specifically, he has no choice but to pay for sex.
But you want to know why? Because outside of he not having the symmetrical face like that attracts women, I say it like that. It's like a certain symmetrical they look at. His attitude is loser.
Yep.
It's cup half empty, not half full, and it's all women ain't shit, and it's very scarred.
Yep.
But it's not scarred like I'm gonna keep my mind open, but I'm guarded with my feelings. It's more so scarred like, so I just need the biggest hug from the most beautiful woman to heal me. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's crying. It gives mommy issues to me. I feel like niggas going through like real life issues, and they're not getting them addressed, and they coming on YouTube and just like venting and going crazy. That all because somebody called women out. That's one thing altogether. But just always it's just a tone of voice, and there's just, I don't know how to explain it when it comes to these.
Man, I'm gonna say this, and this gonna give you some ammo. God has given you 3 things, and you cannot change these 3 things. God is giving you a face. You can't change how your face looks.
Right.
God is giving you, as a man, a dick size. You can't change your dick size. And trust me, the Creator knew why He gave you that size, because that is the perfect size for your frame. From a health standpoint, you probably don't know why you're set up that way, but God in His divine intervention knew why he created you to be specifically that way.
Right.
And the third element of it is you can't change who you are internally as a person.
Right.
So those three things are three things that you cannot change. So what you can do is you can build on those foundations of those three things, and you can try to be the most maximum variation of who you are around those three things, but you can't change those three things. I'm sorry.
But
And you have to accept what you have to accept.
The thing about it is more stronger than a woman's visual is her ears.
Yep.
Men, our visuals are visuals. We can look at somebody off the bat and say, "Oh, it's only so far I'll go with her."
Yep.
No matter what she do.
Yep.
No matter what she do, she can turn out to be a very good woman, a good person. But no matter what she do, it's not happening.
Yep.
But a woman, through her ears, you can change the way she perceive you.
Mm-hmm.
If through your charisma, through what you say, how you say it.
Yep.
I know a lot of guys who weren't good to look at. Well, I'm a man, so none of y'all good to look at, but who were kind of harsh, who were kind of harsh on the eyes, have just as many women as me. Because he understood women.
Yep.
And not women who was using women who he knew he had other women.
Yep.
And that's the key. Because for this to be simplest, this could be very simplest. But if it was simplest, they wouldn't be arguing over him.
Exactly.
Because one of them would have the control to where he would know better, to where he can't be with nobody else. You mind. Yeah. Women prostitutes, they fight over tricks, not because they love the trick, but because that's my source of money.
Exactly. So when you brought up the Zion Williamson situation in my head,
it's two reasons why women fight over men. But in Zion Williamson's situation, there is more her pride is hurt.
Yep.
She feel like she should have been the only one, and he got it's to the point where he had another woman pregnant. He had no regard for her. He didn't give a fuck about her like that.
This is the delusion. This is the delusion of women not understanding the advantages that a man like him has, and the access and the resources that he has. So she's not going to be the only one. Just like she's not the only one on her fucking phone.
Right.
But you're gonna get mad at him for messing with somebody else, et cetera, et cetera. When you said what you said about Zion Williamson, in my mind, I'm just sitting there saying, what is the problem? The only problem that I have with him is, okay, as long as he can make sure that he can differentiate this and still focus on basketball, because Kobe fucked over 1,000 chicks on Vanessa, but Kobe was the most hardest focused Black Mamba. He knew how to differentiate basketball in between. I heard stories about this motherfucker ran through damn near over 100 chicks in that damn 08 and 12 Olympics. I mean, he ran through some motherfuckers. You see him hanging out with the volleyball team and all that. He had running through motherfuckers. Yeah. But he knew how to just still have the Mamba mentality. As long as Zion Williamson can separate that and focus on his purpose and know the differentiation between the two, what is the problem? I don't see no problem with this.
Got to understand, because you're an alpha, that's why. And in your mind, there's nothing taboo. Because the thing is, a lot of people who have fantasies, their fantasies are taboo to them.
Yeah.
Like if two women, if there was a strip club, and two women was like, we want to give you a threesome, we think you're happy. That's what they always wanted. But when they're done, they'll say, man, those bitches are sluts, they're the scum of the earth. They'll talk down on the bitches for giving them what they wanted. Because truth be told, deep down, they're insecure. They don't think they deserve it. When we are alpha, you know you deserve it.
Yeah.
And when you're alpha, you could be with one woman and have another bitch pregnant. And don't be like, okay, bitch, so what?
It's whatever.
It's whatever. She's pregnant. Yeah. You try to be pregnant to say that. All this shit you doing on Twitter, you ain't got to do all that.
Yeah, be fruitful, multiply, subdue, and have dominion over the earth. I mean,
you ain't got to do all that. Sign this NDA and say, goddamn it, if you find this arrangement to be fucked up, it's all you can hit me for right here.
Yeah,
that's it. If you want to get pregnant, say so. You know what I mean? You ain't got to do all this shit. That's the problem. But they don't really realize this. What she's doing, what she's saying is, me too. What about me? All this shit she's saying is basically saying you left me out. What about me? Where do I
Exactly.
fit here? And he can call up and say, "Man, you next. I need you to come out here when you ready."
Exactly.
After all that shit she said, she'll be on her way to go get her baby, man.
Yeah.
Understand that niggas play at different levels. These niggas mad because they can't play on that level.
They can't play on that level. That's all it is.
That's
And
what they
him, he
mad.
just has the money to play on the level.
That's why they
It
mad.
just my only thing with him is if as long as he could be to remain a focused basketball player and play at a high level because he has high level talent. Now,
Right.
if you're letting this get in the way of your purpose,
Don't do
and
that.
now you're prioritizing that over your purpose, now we have a fucking problem.
Don't do that because you can lose this life
Yep.
chasing that.
Exactly.
Always keep the main thing. The main thing. You can
Yep.
lose. You can lose the main thing on the second. The pussy and all that is a secondary thing.
Yep.
If
And the
this-
NBA teams, because you got this public information open, if you're slacking the NBA teams, this is what people don't understand. Your employer is paying attention, so your employer is seeing what's going on. And if your employer sees, oh, so this is why you're not playing all the way up the par.
Right.
Now they can cut you from the resources that's giving you the access to be able to do this.
Right. Right. So if he was smart, he'll know, like, bro, this shit done went viral, and a nigga like me be getting injured. And the truth be told, the reason why I'm getting injured is I'm a wide dude. And I get bigger than the average person for my height.
Yep.
And that's a lot. And he's very dynamic. That's a lot of torque. That's a lot of what's it called? Pound per square inch pressure.
Yeah.
Coming down on his knees on it because he's so big.
Mm-hmm.
Now the employee can say, bro, if you want this fucking all these bad business, you could get in shape so you ain't fucking your legs up. And he can say that and put it in his contract like, bro, when you show up for training camp, you gotta be this size.
Mm-hmm.
Or else you're gonna take a penalty.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And you don't want to get an L from that because now it's going to create a footprint where other teams are going to be like, okay, well, damn, he didn't meet up the contract obligations here. So now it's a Russian roulette where you're kind of in a position where you have to beg other teams to see if they can be willing to take on the risk instead of you doing your due diligence and remaining disciplined. Because if you want access to these luxuries of still being able to fuck these bitches and still being able to do all of this, just do what you do. Your job, do it at your very best. Just be in your best conditioning. Like, what's wrong with that?
And where you messed up at was he wanted to knock down the bitches who claimed to be bad bitches, not just beautiful black women. He wanted to knock down the prototypical bad bitches don't do nothing that everybody don't see. Because they believe if everybody don't see it, then it didn't happen.
Exactly.
Whereas a woman don't gotta speak on everything she knows, see, or do. So there's women who could be having these conversations with you, arguing with the bitch over there saying this mama, and you will never hear, will never get on social media.
But you know what that is? That's where his age comes into play, and that's where his upbringing comes into play. Because I believe he's a mama's boy, right?
Right.
So with him being a mama's boy, and then the fact that he's young like that, those two dichotomies, his mama's boys, those mamas could be in those boys' ears too, fucking them up too. Now, saying, you got to take care. You got to take care of them girls now. They deal with you. You got to make sure they good, but you got to make sure you take care of mama first. So he's being fucked on 3 levels here.
Well, it ain't just start here. It's been his whole life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But the problem is, he did this shit not because it's a desire more so. I feel like he did this shit because he wanted to say he wanted to be able to say he did it. So he got who people consider bad business. But there's a lot of attention seeking that comes with quote unquote bad business, man. So if you take them out on a trip to Maui, they don't have the reserve to say I'm on the trip. Into the trip, I'm just gonna keep my phone, and I'm gonna check my phone like for social media and shit like that. But I'm gonna be off my phone. A bad bitch gonna spend more time on her phone than with you because she got to film everything y'all doing because in her mind, if other people don't see it, it didn't matter. So when Shorty felt violated, Shorty went right to Twitter and started saying, Tell your baby mom, did you tell your baby mom you was over here fucking me? And then showing her
Mm-hmm.
all the shit she be sending him.
Yep.
She said, fuck it, I'll expose myself
Yep.
to get your attention.
Mm-hmm.
Bad bitches do that. Grown women don't do that. A grown woman, a real woman, would never show that a nigga had her like that.
Yep. And
That's
that just shows you the difference in the mindset, because
right.
that just shows you the difference between a Zion Williamson and a Kobe Bryant. Because Kobe Bryant was doing the same thing that Zion Williamson was doing, but Kobe Bryant wasn't putting it out on Jump Street. Look at
Right.
me in my chest. It was these females that was saying this is what Kobe was doing, and you never heard a peep from Kobe, because to Kobe it's like that's a taboo thing. Like
Right.
that's what you're supposed to do as a man, and move on and go right back to what you do best. Zion Williamson has a responsibility. His number one responsibility is when you're that level of a namesake and you're in your respective sport or genre, it should be the women doing all of this, and then you kind of still focusing on your craft. But
Right.
when you go through those experiences and then you kind of do that little pumping of the chest at the level that you're at,
Right.
there is some bit of immaturity there. And yes, he's young,
Yeah, he's
but
22 years
still,
old. Yeah.
but still, the problem is he's an NBA superstar that
Yeah.
has been put as a guy to be the next thing.
You gotta
So when
grow
you have
fast.
that level of pressure, you need to surround yourself around people that can be able to hold your ass accountable. And I think that's the other problem that we're seeing with Zion Williamson, right? He doesn't have a solid team. Floyd always talks about this, right? He doesn't have a solid team around him to
Right.
hold him accountable. It's his mom, man. It's him and his mom. That's his manager. That's the team. So if your mom grew up with a mentality where she's limited in how she could tell you how to do this or do that, she's only going by her experiences,
Right.
you're really fucked at making millions and millions of dollars like that, and you have access to everything. Of course you're going to always be overweight, because
Right.
your mom, all she knew was take your ass to Popeyes, and you in New Orleans, man, you could
Right.
literally own a fucking Popeye. So your ass always going to be out of shape,
As
because your mom,
I don't think he
boy,
ever
you better
stayed in
eat.
shape. As long as he stay in New Orleans.
Yeah, because the mom's gonna say, boy, you better eat. If that's what she's been telling you all your life, boy, you better eat. Then guess what, bro?
Right.
That's what she's gonna tell you.
What people don't realize is they might as well get used to. I'm gonna say this, and I'm done.
All right.
They might as well get used to this right here, because
Mhm.
he's not gonna be the only one who does it. If this ain't the last time, he gonna get some more business payments.
Yep.
Because that's what his mindset. The thing about it, the younger people coming up, the more generations come out, the more Hebrew we're gonna get.
Yep.
A lot of these people come. Cause I have this mindset. As soon as I find the right woman, or two or three, I'm making a lot of children.
Yep.
These guys are coming out. These guys are feeling like that at 19, 20,
Yep. Yep.
21. And they, as long as they got the money to do it, they're gonna do it. NBA YoungBoy got 11 children.
Yep.
You think he gonna
Shit.
stop?
What's that rapper's name, man? That dude got a lot of children too, man. He running through them. Um, he became the no, he became the next hot dude. I forgot his name, man. He was after the Migos. He's on that same imprint as Migos, but he became like the next wave. Damn, man, his name's not coming to me right now. Baby
Yeah.
got a lot of babies, man.
Yeah.
I think he need to change his name from Baby to whatever. That motherfucker got a lot of babies.
Exactly. What you should do is change the name from Baby to Babies. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's what you should do. But yeah, man, this been another great live, bro.
Man, it's been another great live. Appreciate you, bro. As always, it's been real. I hope you guys learned a valuable lesson. The valuable lesson is there is no judgment in what Zion Williamson is doing. All we want for Zion Williamson is to just focus on his craft
Right.
and make sure he's doing what he's supposed to. But in all honesty, there's no harm and there's no foul in what he's doing.
Yeah.
And with these women at the same time need to understand you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't be the ones when it's benefiting you. You're sitting there pumping your cheerleader pumps. But when it's not benefiting you, you have a problem with it. No, You have to understand, women have their advantages, but men also have their advantages
Yeah,
as well
right.
too.
Right.
Accept life for what the fuck it is.
Right.
All right, y'all. It's been real. Peace.
Peace.